I am Dushi and today I brought first chapter of biology, that is life process, and in this part we will continue with the next topic, that is respiration. So what is respiration? There are two things, respiration and breathing. So respiration is the process in which releasing energy from food is called respiration. Means when we get the food and when it is break down into simpler forms such as glucose and sugar, and that is converted into energy, so that is called respiration. So respiration and breathing are two different things. Breathing is the process in which we inhale and exhale the air. We inhale oxygen and exhale the carbon dioxide. But in respiration, it is the complex process and it is used when oxygen is taken out from the air. Then this oxygen is used to this oxygen is combined with the food which we eat or which we get in the simpler forms of glucose or sugar, and that is converted into energy, which is done in the mitochondria, which are also known as energy currency of the cell. So these energy forms the ATP, adenosine triphosphate, and this ATP gives us energy to do different things inside our body and outside our body. So food plus oxygen. When food is combined with oxygen, then carbon dioxide is formed, which we breathe out or exhale. Then water is also formed. Water is formed and uh, it just transpirate out from our body as sweat or energy, and energy is formed. Energy is formed which we use to do different vital things. So this is the process of respiration. Food is combined to oxygen and carbon dioxide, water and energy. Three things are formed. So this is respiration. Now there are two types of respiration. First is aerobic respiration and second is anaerobic respiration. So aerobic respiration is the type of respiration in which oxygen is involved. Oxygen is involved, which is used to break down food to get the energy. And in anaerobic respiration, we do not use the anaerobic respiration. Mainly all the living organisms use aerobic respiration. In anaerobic respiration, they do not use the oxygen to break down their simpler foods such as glucose and sugar. So anaerobic respiration means without air, anaerobic means without air, and aerobic means with air. So aerobic respiration include oxygen and anaerobic respiration does not involve oxygen. So this is the difference between aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Mainly the organisms use aerobic respiration, aerobic type of respiration. Now aerobic respiration is done by plants, mostly plants, humans, and some type of single celled. They are using anaerobic such as amoeba, paramecium, euglena, etc. So these are using anaerobic. While we are doing the physical exercises and when we are doing very hard work, and at that time or running very fast, so at that time lactic acid is also formed, and at that time we use anaerobic type of respiration. Because have you already heard of cheetah very running fast to catch out the deer? So that cheetah has the legs very strong and it runs very fast. So at the time of running, it produces lactic acid in the muscles, and that is formed in the process of anaerobic respiration. Because doing very fast does not make up so fast energy. Energy does not convert very energy is not created very fast. So that is why anaerobic respiration takes place in our body muscles, and that gives us a small amount of energy. And aerobic respiration create large amount of energy, and anaerobic respiration creates small energy, very little energy. So mostly organism, that is why they use aerobic type of respiration. So you can understand, we also just release the lactic acid, which is also present in the milk, but it is not that one. So lactic acid is also released by our muscles, and anaerobic respiration takes place at the time of vital activities when we do very hard work. So anaerobic respiration takes place, otherwise we are using aerobic type of respiration. Now, this is the chart how the glucose is converted into different types of presence or absence or lack of oxygen. So, glucose, that is six carbon molecules. Six carbon molecules are present in the glucose in cytoplasm, in the cytoplasm of the cell. The pyruvate, which is three carbon molecules, this is formed plus energy. These are formed inside the cytoplasm, and these are the pyruvate are converted into three when the absence of oxygen, that is in the yeast, this there is no oxygen required in the yeast, there is anaerobic type of respiration. Then ethanol, that is two carbon molecule plus carbon dioxide and energy are formed in yeast. And when there is a lack of oxygen, means there is no much oxygen, but there is little amount of oxygen in our muscle cells while we are doing the exercises. Then lactic acid, that is three carbon molecules plus energy, these are formed. And here presence of oxygen in the mitochondria, carbon dioxide, water and energy, these three are formed. So you can see they are absent in the absence of oxygen, ethanol, that is two carbon molecules. So this is the small amount of energy is formed in the yeast, and a little bit energy is formed during in the lack of oxygen during the exercises, and a large amount of oxygen is formed in the mitochondria. So this is in the presence of aerobic respiration, the large amount of energy is formed in comparison to lack of oxygen or absence of oxygen. So anaerobic respiration gives highest amount of energy, and in the lack of oxygen or in the absence of oxygen, the very little energy is produced. So this is the chart how the glucose is converted into different organisms in the different types of in the different forms. So now we will move to next, and that is the plant respiration. Respiration in plant takes place like that in the leaves, in the stem, in the branches and in the roots. So in the different parts of plant we can see different types of respiration takes place, while in animals there is only one pathway of respiration, but in plants there are different ways of respiration. So in the leaves there are tiny holes under the leaf surface that are known as stomata, and stomata are in the are in a chloroplast, and that are green pigment chlorophyll is present, and that is why leaf is green in color. So stomata are the tiny holes, pores under the leaf surface. Under the leaf surface they are exchanging gases, and transpiration of water is also taking place through this stomata. So under the leaf surface the tiny holes are present, and these are contracted and relaxed by the guard cells. These are the muscles like a structure. Guard cells are compressing and relaxing the stomata, and while the stomata is opening, then the releasing of oxygen and taking of carbon dioxide takes place, and water is also released from this small pores. So this is the respiration in leaves. Now in the branches or in the stem there are small tiny pores such as leaves, so they are also present, and here the stomata are also present. in the when you are seeing the small plant and its leaves and branches are green in color, stem is also green in color, so everywhere chlorophyll is present, that is why they are green. So there is tiny pores, these are stomata which are present on the stem, and these are also present in the roots. So these are taking inside the carbon dioxide and releasing out oxygen during photosynthesis process. And in the roots there is also respiration taking place. There are tiny pores between the soil particles. There are air particles between the soil. So in these air particles, oxygen and carbon dioxide both are present. So here the exchange of gases takes place through the roots here. In the roots here, there are small pores which are also working like stomata, and this in this part of the in the roots, the exchange of gases takes place because soil has different small tiny particles between them, and air is also present in the soil. So from the soil, the water and the air both are carried out to the plant and circulated to whole plant, because the whole plant cannot absorb so much of carbon dioxide or so much of uh, light or sunlight. So that is why different parts of plants are working together to get oxygen, to get carbon dioxide and release oxygen, and to make their food by the process of photosynthesis. So in during photosynthesis, during the day, they are making their food by the carbon dioxide, sunlight and chlorophyll. They are making food, and at night there is no sun, so there is no photosynthesis process taking place. So the whole process just reverse up. The carbon dioxide is released out and oxygen is taken in. And that is why we are saying or we are hearing from our elders that don't lie down under the trees, just such a big trees such as banyan or neem trees. So why? Because they are carrying out they are in taking in the oxygen and giving out carbon dioxide. So the atmosphere around the plant or atmosphere around the tree is filled up with the carbon dioxide, and we cannot take in the carbon dioxide, and that is why we feel suffocation under the trees during night. So this is the process of respiration in plants. Now we'll move to respiration in animals. Firstly, let us see in the fish. So in the aquatic animals such as fish, amoeba and so many of organisms which are living under the sea, those are aquatic animals. So in the aquatic animals, especially in the fish, there are gills present behind in the backward of the head and in the front of the body. So these gills are carrying out the gaseous exchange. The oxygen is taken inside from the water, and carbon dioxide is released through the mouth, and that is why you can see the bubbles coming out from the fish's mouth. So now oxygen is taken inside and carbon dioxide is released in the forms of bubbles, and the respiration in the fish or the aquatic animals took faster rather than the terrestrial animals. So the aquatic animals can breathe faster, and terrestrial animals cannot breathe so much of faster in comparison to aquatic animals. So these aquatic animals, when take the oxygen, then this oxygen is mixed into the blood, and that blood and in the mitochondria the energy is formed and energy is released throughout the body, and carbon dioxide is released in the forms of bubbles. So now in the amoeba is also water living animal. So in the water, this is the nucleus of amoeba. So this cell membrane is after passing through the cell membrane, the oxygen comes inside the cell body of the amoeba through the cell membrane, and carbon dioxide is released out. Carbon dioxide is released out after taking inside the oxygen. So this mechanism takes place in the amoeba. Now in the small insects such as earthworms, leeches, grasshoppers, and so many, the scales are present on their body, and these scales are containing very small holes that are known as sphincters, and these holes, this is the scale. When magnified, then these scales contain small holes, and through these small holes the gaseous exchange takes place. The oxygen is carried inside and carbon dioxide is released outside the atmosphere. So through the skin, through the trachea, through the lungs, and through the gills, and through the cell membrane, there are different ways of converting oxygen or respiration taking place. And in the in amphibians such as frogs, snakes, so while they are on the land, they breathe through they respire through their lungs, and when they are inside the water, so they uh, breathe through their skin, and they also have the pores on the skin, and these are responsible for gaseous exchange in the amphibians. So the respiration is in the animals we have completed. Now we will move to respiration in humans. So respiration in humans have only the single process. The oxygen is taken inside from the nose and goes to the trachea or the food or the windpipe, and it enters the lungs, and alveoli of the lungs are containing small thread-like structures, and these alveoli contains the process of gaseous exchange takes place in the alveoli of the lungs. So here they are also the root-like structures. Suppose that these are the lungs of the human. Actually, these are not exact, but here are the two trachea, and these are joined together, and here through the through the windpipe, the oxygen comes inside and divided into two. In these two, uh, in these two lungs, and now here are the tracheas. Small thread-like structures are spread all over the lungs, and these alveoli contains small holes, and oxygen is taken inside the cells, and carbon dioxide is produced during this process. So that is why carbon dioxide is taken back and we release the carbon dioxide. So while inhaling, while taking oxygen inside our body, that is known as inhalation, and when we exhale the carbon dioxide or breathe out the carbon dioxide, that is known as exhalation. Inhalation and exhalation. So diaphragm is present below the lungs and above the stomach and liver. So this diaphragm moves up and down. So when wind is or when oxygen is taken inside, then we are just the trachea moves downwards because it is a balloon-like structure. So that is why it fills up with the air, and when it fills up with the air, so it blows in. This becomes larger. This becomes broader. So when carbon dioxide is released out, when we exhale, so we have no air inside our lungs. So that is why diaphragm moves upwards, so it becomes contracts. So this the movement of diaphragm is due to taking inside and breathing outside the air or oxygen and carbon dioxide. So this is the respiration in human beings or man, and we have completed respiration. Now we will move to next. But before going to the next topic, let me tell you one thing, that exchange of gas, this was exchange of gas taking inside the oxygen and carrying out carbon dioxide. And when blood the carbon dioxide is more soluble in water than comparison to oxygen. So that is why when we drink water and it is supplied to our blood, so that blood contains carbon dioxide in the large amount, and when that carbon dioxide is pumped out into the from the heart into the veins, and that veins contains deoxygenated blood, which is highly considerable to be carrying the carbon dioxide in larger amount and containing oxygen in very less amount. So deoxygenated blood is carried to the lungs, and lungs take out that carbon dioxide, and that is why carbon dioxide is breathed out or taken out from the alveoli and carried out to the diaphragm. Sorry, it is not diaphragm. It then it is carried to the windpipe and then blows out from the nose. So our windpipe is containing small cilia, which are hair-like structures. So that cilia are pouring out the dust particles or the smoke particles, because air is the mixture of gases. So while taking inside the oxygen, some dust particles or some smoke particles enters inside our windpipe. So that cilia just purify that smoke, and that is carried out with the that smoke or that dust particles are carried out to while exhaling the carbon dioxide. But when you have seen somebody, he is smoking, then this smoke just destroyed up the cilia. They destroyed the cilia. This smoke just burns out the cilia, and when no filtration of air will take place, then all the dust particles and all the smoke particles can enter inside our lungs, and it can even cause very high cold or even the lung cancer. So we should not smoke at all, and if somebody is smoking, then please prevent it to smoke. So because it can also cause the lung cancer to him. So taking out and even tobacco, chewing up tobacco or taking in the form of cigars, so they can also destroy our health. They also affect our lungs. And taking out and while chewing the tobacco, when somebody chew the tobacco, then it can even cause the heart attack or even the various forms of cancers. So we should try to prevent them, and we should explain them why not to consume these products, because these are very harmful to our health. So we have completed respiration. Now we will move to transportation, and that is transportation of blood. Firstly, we will learn about the transportation in plants. So, transportation in plants are of various two types. Firstly, the transportation of water, and second, transportation of food and other minerals. So, there are two special tissues in the plants known as xylem and phloem, which carries out these transportations. So, firstly, xylem. Xylem carries out the water from the different from the roots, because roots absorb the water from the soil, and this water is carried out to the plants and to the leaves. And when leaves are containing the stomata, and these leaves when do not require that such amount of water, then this water is uh, evaporated in the form of transpiration, and transpiration takes place throughout the leaves. So releasing of water from the stomata is known as transpiration, and this transpiration is used to mainly to maintain the temperature of the plant, not so hot, not so cold. So different types of temperatures, they can adapt themselves in that temperature. And soil is containing water and other mineral salts, So these are carried out to the through the roots to the stem, and larger trees have trunk, and when these are carried out to the different parts of the plants, then the phloem is responsible for carrying out the food and other minerals to the plants, and these are carried out to the leaves of the plants, and in the leaves chlorophyll is present, and by using the trapping the carbon dioxide and sunlight and chlorophyll is also present and water, they make their food, and they store in the form of ATP in the mitochondria, and they use this energy in various forms. So this is the transportation of water takes place in the xylem, and transportation of food takes place in the phloem. So transportation of water and food is carried out in the plants, but in the animals the transportation of blood is carried out throughout the body. So the transportation of plants, we have completed that topic. So the soil is rich in minerals, and these minerals can contain phosphorus and other mineral salts, carbon dioxide, oxygen, and water. So these minerals are absorbed by the roots, and they are carried out into the phloem. Phloem tissues are living cells, but xylem tissues are dead cells, because if the xylem tissues, maybe they are living, then they cannot breathe out and breathe in, because the transportation of water is taking place in very high pressure, because it is easier to fall down the water from higher concentration to the lower concentration, but it is difficult for the water to be carried out from the downwards to the upwards. So to carry out the water from downwards to upwards, so we require high amount of pressure to be exerted, and this pressure is exerted by the roots tissues and roots xylem tissues, and it is carried to other xylem tissues to the plants, and finally they reach the other part of the plants and to the leaves, and in the leaves they make their food, and it is stored in the form of ATP, and the food or the minerals are carried out by the roots into the phloem tissues. In the phloem tissues, they are the living cells, and they carry out the process of carrying out the food takes place in the phloem, and phloem carries out to the whole part of the plant. Now we will move to the transportation in human beings. Now, this is the structure of the heart. So, in the upper part, this is the left, because in this part we have the left hand. So, left, in the left side, this is left left atrium, and in the lower part we have left ventricle. Similar in the right side we have right atrium, and in the lower part we have right ventricle. So ventricles are present in the bottom of the heart, and atrium are present on the top of the heart. You can also learn from the spellings. A comes first and V comes last. So A is the first, then it will be at the top, and V is the last, that is why it will come at bottom. Then if we talk about individual parts, so heart is divided into 4 chambers: right atrium, right ventricle, and left ventricle. So these are the 4 heart chambers or in the human beings. So when the blood comes from the arteries, because arteries are carrying oxygenated blood and veins are carrying deoxygenated blood. This blue colors show that this is the deoxygenated blood, and this red and these are the muscles of the heart, and this blank space shows that this is the pure blood or the oxygenated blood. Now when the blood is entering these atrium, when blood enters the atrium, then it goes down from here and then it goes down from here. This is the reverse process. The blood comes from here to the from the right atrium to the, it goes from the right atrium, blood comes from right atrium and goes into the right ventricle. It goes down, and when it goes down, then it moves upwards, and from the right ventricle it is carried out to the rest of the part, and this is the pulmonary artery. Pulmonary artery and pulmonary veins. This is the pulmonary vein. Now the right atrium is filled with the blood. Then it will pump. It will become very huge in size, and it is containing the blood. So the blood will goes down, and when it will go down to the right ventricle, then right ventricle will move out. It will push very highly because it is the lower part, and I have already told you that from lower part to upper part, it is we need to apply much pressure. So much pressure is applied from the right ventricle, and then the blood is carried to the pulmonary veins. And after the pulmonary veins, they are divided into different capillaries and veins. So then arteries, they are carrying oxygenated blood. The blood is pure, and now all of the blood is carried from throughout the body. Now same thing happens in the left atrium and left ventricle. The blood comes to the left atrium, it goes down to the left ventricle, then it moves upwards with a high pressure, and then it just blows in, and it goes out from here. So this process continues, means when both the right atrium and left atrium will pump up, or they will swell up, and then when they will contract, then left ventricle will they will become wider, and when they are just contracting, when they just come closer, then all of the blood is carried to the veins and capillaries. So veins and arteries, their blood is carried out through these 4 chambers. So that is why the blood is pumping in this process. So now we will learn how the veins and capillaries, how the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood is carried out from the lungs to other parts of the body. So before going to that, let us learn what are the different parts of the heart. So firstly, in the right side we will learn. So right side of the heart carries impure blood, and left part carries pure blood. So right part, which is carrying impure blood or deoxygenated blood, from the superior vena cava carries out the blood from the hands, from the head, from the mouth, and from the upper body parts, the body parts which are upper from the heart. So from there, the superior vena cava carries out the blood, and it is pushed down to the right atrium, and right atrium push down this blood, the deoxygenated blood, through the pulmonary wall. This is the pulmonary wall, and from this wall, the right ventricle, pushing out, when it is pushing out, when it is contracting, then this blood is carried out to their uh, pulmonary valve opens out, and the deoxygenated blood is carried to pulmonary arteries. So inferior vena cava brings out the deoxygenated blood from the lower part of the body, the part which is below the heart, the whole body part which is below the heart. So there, all the blood is carried in the inferior vena cava, and it is also happening like that. The blood comes into the right ventricle and then goes up. Then when it is pushed up, then pulmonary valve open and the blood is carried out into the pulmonary artery, and the pulmonary valve become closed. It closes up. Now same thing happens in the right part of the heart. So in the right part, which is carrying oxygenated blood, from the aorta, the blood is carried from the upper part. So the pulmonary veins which are carrying deoxygenated blood. Here there is the difference between pulmonary artery and veins in normal arteries and veins. So we will discuss it later. So when the left atrium is filled with the blood, then it is going down to the left ventricle, and when left ventricle pushes up this blood, then it goes to the upper part of the aorta and aortic valve. This is named after this this artery, aorta, and aortic valve open up, so just as the pulmonary valve, and when it is opened up, then whole blood is carried out to the aorta and it closes up. Means aortic valve closes up, and oxygenated blood is supplied to whole part of the body. So this is the left and the right part of this heart, and here spectrum means this is the barrier between these two chambers of the heart, means the right chamber and the left chamber, and the heart is divided into four chambers: right atrium, left atrium, right ventricle, and left ventricle. So now, what is the difference between veins and the arteries? So in arteries and the veins. So arteries are carrying oxygenated blood and veins are carrying deoxygenated blood. Arteries are carrying oxygenated blood and veins are carrying deoxygenated blood. So deoxygenated blood is shown by this blue color, and arteries which are carrying oxygenated blood is shown by the red color. So, but pulmonary artery and pulmonary veins. So pulmonary artery, it is the largest artery, and pulmonary vein is the largest vein. They are carrying just opposite. So pulmonary artery is carrying deoxygenated blood and pulmonary vein is carrying oxygenated blood. So here pulmonary are just opposite, and normally the veins are carrying deoxygenated blood and veins are carrying deoxygenated blood and arteries are carrying oxygenated blood. So these are the points to remember, 4 points. These are very important, and don't be confused in pulmonary arteries and normal arteries and pulmonary vein and veins. So these are just opposite to them. That is why we are learning them separately. So now the deoxygenated blood from the right part is carried to the lungs, and there the oxygen which is taken up by the respiration process, the oxygen is mixed up with the uh, mixed up with the blood, and carbon dioxide from the blood is taken out from the lungs, and then carbon dioxide is taken out to the trachea, and through the windpipe we just blow out the air, and that is exhalation of carbon dioxide. So this process takes place inside the heart, and when deoxygenated blood is present in the lungs, then lungs purify this blood by taking out the carbon dioxide and releasing the oxygenated blood into them. So this is why all of these work in the human beings. Now the last topics of this transportation are blood vessels and lymphatic system. So firstly, the blood vessels. What are blood vessels? Absolutely, the blood vessels are the vessels which are carrying blood, which are filled with blood. So those are known as blood vessels. So this is our heart, and here this is the artery, and this is the artery, and this is divided into different parts, different small parts, and those are further divided. So these small parts, these are known as capillaries. So these capillaries are the small parts which are used to carry the blood to the small parts or very tiny parts of the cells. So the blood is carried to whole part of the cells through these capillaries. So capillaries are the smallest blood vessels, and they connect together to form the arteries or the veins. So now lymphatic system. The lymphatic system is the system in which most of the part of white blood cells is present, and it is usually colorless. Lymph is colorless liquid, and it is containing so much of fat and very less protein, and red blood cells are present in very small amount, and white blood cells are present in a large amount. So that is the lymphatic system. So lymphatic system passes through bone marrow, which is present in the thigh bone, and spleen, which is present just beside the kidney, beside the pancreas, and thymus, which is above the heart. Lymphatic nodes. These nodes are formed when lymphatic vessels. These lymphatic vessels are passing through any part of the body, and they form the nodes here. So these are known as lymphatic nodes. So these lymphatic nodes are the small combination of fats or other products which are consumed by our body, and it is containing white blood cells which fight against the diseases. So these are lymphatic nodes, and lymphatic vessels are just like the blood vessels, but they are containing white blood cells in a larger amount. And blood vessels are blood is mainly composed of four materials. Firstly, the red blood cells, then the white blood cells, platelets, and the plasma. So plasma is the yellow colored liquid. It is just like the watery liquid, and water is mixed up with the plasma, and plasma is in the plasma, it is acting like the water, and red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets, these three components are floating inside this plasma. So red blood cells are red in color, white blood cells are white in color, and platelets are yellowish type of fluid. So these are the four components of the blood. And what happens if these blood vessels are cut down? Suppose that if we get a bleed, if we get a cut on our hand, and when that blood is bleeding very much, then what happens? If it is not stopped, then when bleeding is not stopped, then whole blood loss will be occurring, and we will be dying. So it should be prevented by some means. So these platelets, when this is the blood vessel, and it get the cut from here and blood flows out from here. That is why blood is coming out to our body parts. So the platelets which are present in the blood, these platelets come together and they form the barrier-like structure. They form in the larger amount and they act as the boundary, and blood cannot flow too much from this area. So clotting of blood should be prevented by these platelets. White blood cells white blood cells just prevent us from getting any diseases, and red blood cells which is carrying hemoglobin, and hemoglobin is carrying oxygen. Hemoglobin is the pigment which is responsible for red color of the blood, and even in the one drop of water there are millions of red blood cells in the in that one drop of blood. So now we will learn what is the blood pressure. So you have heard of BP, saying blood pressure, which is BP. So high BP and low BP. So what is blood pressure? Let us learn. The pressure, the blood which is exerting pressure. The pressure exerted by blood is known as blood pressure. So blood pressure is checked out or it is identified by the object which is known as sphygmomanometer. So it is used to check out what is the blood pressure of that person. So blood pressure is checked by sphygmomanometer, and it is just the band is present over the top of the device, and that is put down onto our head, onto our arms, and it is closed very tightly so that the blood cannot enter the whole part of the hand. Normally we are just closing up the hand because it is the easiest way to measure the blood pressure. So it is, the band is fixed here